Hey gang, this week's Star Trek Strange New Worlds debuted early, and it is by far now my favorite of the season, if not the whole series. It is a crossover episode, and we've had those before, like when Picard and Riker and Riker's twin have all shown up on Deep Space Nine at one time or another. And Riker appearing on Star Trek Voyager. And of course, Sisko, Bashir, O'Brien, Worf, and Dax all appearing on the original Star Trek through the use of editing magic. They actually got to interact with the original characters. Oh, and of course there was Spock appearing on Next Generation. But this is the most unusual one because it is Lower Decks in Strange New Worlds. And Lower Decks is an animated show. So, it starts out in the future, Lower Decks, animated, where our beloved misfits, Boimer, Meriner, Tendi, and Rutherford, were all sent down to this planet to do a survey on this large circular thing and make sure it's not working. That's all they got to do. Just make sure it doesn't work. So they go down, and Boimer and Tendi have an argument over who discovered it first, Starfleet or the Orions. And Tendi makes the point that it was Orion scientists. They weren't all pirates back in the 2260s. Plus, her great-grandmother was on that ship, so she knows what she's talking about. Anyway, while they're examining it, there is some power left in it, but it's not on. That is until they started to take pictures and the isotopes activated, and Boimer gets sucked in, where he ends up in 2260, face to face with Pike, La'an, and Una, at which point he passes out. It is quickly established he is from the future, and they've got to keep him from changing anything, which is going to be kind of hard because he kind of geeks out on everyone there. Anyway, the Orions show up, and Boimer kind of interferes, and in doing so, the Orions make off with the time machine. Well, in order to get him back, they've got to go to the Orions, but they have no way to track them. But Boimer does. So he has everybody turn around so they can't see what he's doing, and then he jerry-rigs one of the panels. And they warp to where the Orions are, where during negotiations they agree to trade the grain they have on board, which was intended for another planet that was in need of the grain. It's genetically modified to work on that planet, and they're starving. But Pike goes ahead and trades. They get back to the planet, set everything up. Boimer makes one of his comments, and Spock laughs. Well, that's weird. But he's got to go, so they activate it. They've only got enough power for one last trip when Meriner comes through to rescue Boimer. Well, now they're both stuck there. And they begin to try to figure out what they're going to do. Well, Meriner wants to help Uhura with the translations. She's a huge Uhura fan. And Boimer goes to help Spock. Now, earlier he had talked to Nurse Chapel about the fact that he had seen Spock smiling, and he laughed, and that's not what a Vulcan does, and that's not how Spock is in the future, and he thinks something's wrong. And then it comes out that he's been trying this out to kind of get along better with Christine. She's having an effect on him, and now she's found out they're not going to be together. Oh, Boimer. Anyway, they get the translation, and eventually, and all it says is this is a time machine. Very funny episode. Before they get the full translation, Meriner talks Uhura into taking some time off to recharge. And she makes Orion hurricanes for her, Ortega, and herself. And they all talk about stuff, and this allows Uhura enough time to take her mind off the thing. Plus, Ortiz recognizes the symbols. She saw them once before. But anyway. Now, Meriner had suggested, because they don't have any more of the element left in that time, to just make some. Can't you just make some? Spock says yes, but it's very dangerous. So Meriner goes to help him make it, and Spock chastises him for upsetting Christine. And Spock says, you don't tell me anything. My future is what it is. I don't need to know. And then, right before they set the machine off, he smiles, looks at him and goes, "Do you feel lucky?" Spock does the creepiest smiles. Anyway, it starts sparking, and Spock immediately leaves and gets behind the bulkhead. And Mariner's like, "Is it supposed to do that?" "No, take cover." So it blows up. And they're in a bit of a fix. So Meriner goes and just hangs out in engineering, where Pela starts to talk to him and tells him she knew someone who pretended to be something he wasn't. And after a while, he wasn't pretending, because he became the man he wanted to be. Oh, I checked IMDb. Turns out she was talking about Cary Grant. Anyway, this inspires him. Since they're stuck, he's going to swipe a shuttle, go to the Orions, and get that grain back. Mariner was going to go with him, but Leanne catches them. They're taken to Pike, who, although he's been enjoying the hero worship Mariner's been doing, he's had enough. He's going to drop them off. They're going to find the quarters, going to be dropped off to near Starbase, and that's going to be their problem from now on. Through the conversation, they realize that Pike knows about his future, or at least when he ends up in the chair. And that is a great scene where Mariner goes, "You mean you know all about the..." He doesn't know that his birthday is a is a Starfleet holiday. Although he does learn that Mariner went out on Halloween as Pike once. That's so many great drops in this episode. Anyway, it's at this point that Meriner and Boimer realize there's actually this element on the Enterprise, because the original Enterprise had it in its hull. All those early ones did. And that when a new ship is commissioned with the same name, a part of that ship is included with the new ship. So they go to engineering, where Pela is very upset they're taking apart her floor. And they take the element, synthesize they take it's a rivet. And they synthesize the element from the rivet. They go back down to the planet where the Orions are waiting. Seems the signal that they thought they blocked of Mariners got through. And then we get an interesting negotiation where they explain they are from the future. And they need to use this to go back to their own time period. And the Orions aren't too sure until Meriner and Boimer start talking about their crewmate Tendi. And how her great-great-grandmother is on his ship. He's not sure he believes, he does have a Tendi, but then when they say something, mistress of the night or something like that, which only Orions would know. And Pike throws in the bone that the Orion scientists will get the honor of having discovered this time machine. Captain agrees. It's all he's ever wanted was some acknowledgement that he wasn't just a pirate. So the portal's open. They hear Tandy and Rutherford saying they're going to come through. They yell, no, jump back through. And there's 2 animated endings now. They're back up on their ship, and Boimer finds out that Meriner actually insisted on going on that mission because she knew Boimer really wanted to go, and they're friends. And on the Enterprise, this is animated too, because Ortez made up some authentic Orion hurricanes. The Orions gave them some of the correct alcohol, and they all start hallucinating. Spock's arms are getting all Mr. Fantastic-y, and as his eyes get like this big. Dr. Mbinga's like, what the hell's in this stuff? Yeah, a great episode that perfectly blends 2 extremely different styles of show. One is an out-and-out comedy. The other is more of a serious science fiction exploration show. And it goes very well. They even acknowledge some of the oddness, like Meriner and Boimer are talking. And if you've ever seen Lower Decks, everybody there talks a mile a minute and is very genial and non-serious about their work. As Meriner says in the episode, of course I know all the regulations. They're the easiest roadmap to goofing off. But she and Boimer comment on, you notice how weird everyone talks here? Yeah, it's so slow and low-toned. A lot of great comedy. Especially with Spock trying out emotions. That is just... that smile he gives at one point. But a crazy episode that is just hilarious. And they play well off each other. And Boimer makes a comment about Pike's hair and how awesome it is and big and everything, because the running gag on Strange Worlds is that every episode Pike's hair seems to get a little taller. Yeah. A great episode. Next week they've got Klingons and some kind of negotiation thing, but 2 weeks. Or I should say, yeah, 2 weeks. Musical episode. Everybody's going to sing. See how that one stacks up against this one. Well, please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.